Hey guys, my name's Dan, and I'm doing another video here, and I thought maybe I would just kind of go and talk about things that aren't so typically talked about in FL Studio, and maybe some of the things that are not so easily um, no, intuitive or easy to figure out, shortcuts and stuff. And kind of a creative and kind of show a creative way of using some of the modules and whatnot in here, and sort of just to help myself understand things a little bit more. And I think, well, the plan is to kind of build upon this and, well, learn and grow. So I've been messing with this for the last few mornings. Kind of not a typical setup, anyways, but it's so what I started doing. It's just a simple setup using sampler, and what I did in the samplers is I put a wavetable in here, and the wavetable I actually just recorded a sine wave into Edison from Citrus. But I wanted to kind of see what you can do with sampler with a sine wave. And since the sine wave is the simplest of waveforms, generally speaking, it's a good tool to use to understand how the different effects and things in sampler that how they work and whatnot. And so in the sample in Edison, that is, I recorded it in here, and then if you do Control N, it just normalizes it, which is a way of just bringing the tallest waveforms all the way to basically 0 dB. I'm sure in the software encoding it doesn't quite exactly bring it to 0 dB, but it's, for all intents and purposes, is close enough. So anyways, so I did that, and you can do that, or you can if you want, you can see I got Citrus here, so you can choose the different waveforms just by sliding this guy. So you got your triangle wave, and then it goes to a saw wave, and then you got your square wave, and then your offset square wave and whatnot. And then of course these buttons, you can adjust the skew of these waveforms and tension, just different ways of shaping them. So I digress. So you record those waves, whatever you're trying to do. You can record them into Edison. You might as well just normalize it there, and then you can save these into your wavetables folder. And in this case, it's a C5 sine wave, and then you can kind of build your own library and kind of get some things set up. I'll probably end up throwing C5 triangle wave and square wave in there, saw wave. And if you reverse the saw wave, call it a ramp wave, but I'm not so sure. It sounds a whole heck of a lot different, because you can take a saw wave and just reverse it, and it's a ramp wave. So and you can reverse in the sampler if you want, in addition to swapping the stereo, or and then reversing polarity. So if you got the sounds going through, another cool thing, just kind of staying on more of the fundamental basis of FL Studio. Each one of these mixer tracks, if you go down to this little time buddy, you can actually you can set the I won't mess with what So you can set your delay. The one thing that I noticed is that a positive setting of delay, I believe it made it actually earlier somehow. It delays everything else, and then if you can do negative settings. Might as well demonstrate for y'all real quick. So let's put this guy on. Let's just put him on channel 4. Out the master. This is not. Oh, it's a random wave anyway that I kind of made, but just now or a few moments ago. So we'll just stick with a nice even sine wave. Whoops. I have this keyboard actually locked to the samplers, so I'm gonna have to just use the mouse for the time being. So if you look over here at insert 4, and actually it might make more sense to use my samplers actually. Oh yeah, because here, so whoops. Yeah, you can get rid of the master if you accidentally click here and click over, but I didn't mean to do that. So that's FL Studio is setting latency whenever you have effect plugins to keep everything in time. Otherwise you have phasing issues. So if I push the keyboard, we can kind of see the timing. They're next to each other. I'm not. Oh yeah. I'm not sure why insert 1. Oh. I'm not sure why I have. Hold on a second. I got some goofiness going on here. Oh, well, that's right. These are so insert 1 is combining 2 and 3 together so that I can affect both of the sounds that I'm making from the samplers, and I'll explain why I've got 2 in a moment. So you got your window up here for your sampler. If I want the other one up and I click on it, the other one disappears. It's kind of inconvenient. So what you do is you focus something different that you don't want, that you don't care if is showing or not, and then you go back over and click the one that's still absent, and then it shows up. And now they're showing here together, and this guy's slightly out of line. Anyway, still not quite right. Anyways, I don't mean to get distracted here, but anyway, that's my OCD. So anyway, trying to get back on point here. So so we'll just ignore 1. I've got each of these samplers panned to the left and to the right, and so that's why I have what I'm doing here. But if you just look at the timing of the waves, and we'll take this one and we'll make it 200 milliseconds, and then you look at which one you think is, you would think that if you delay this channel 200 milliseconds that it would wait 200 milliseconds and then process audio. But as you can see, we'll focus this one. It's actually earlier by 200 milliseconds. But since it only initiates whenever you push a key, everybody else gets delayed by that amount. So if you want this guy to actually be behind whenever you press a key, you make it, you push a negative symbol and then 200, and you'll get a delay. And as you just saw, that insert 2 activated before. When I pushed the key, it activated. So just keep in mind that when you set a positive latency, whatever you set, it's going to initiate whenever you hit the key right then and there. Everything else will be delayed that much. So that just, I didn't know that. And I've watched lots of tutorials on people showing how stuff and things work, and no one ever talked about that. So I thought I'd share that. So if I can keep from boring you guys too much, we can get to the, well, I've got two samplers here. So like I explained earlier, got the sine waves in here. And what I just was trying to do was trying to see what effects did what to the sine wave to understand what's going on and how they work. So through experience, I can tell you that resample is your best bet for pitch changes off of whatever wavetable you have in here. If I set this to like Stretch Pro, let's go ahead and mute that guy so we don't hear, so we can just focus. You're going to hear it changes the timing as well, and man, well, it's not really making much sound. And let's see. Oh, I have to mention something other real quick, but first I'm going to figure what the heck's going on here. So let's go back to resample. Okay, so in the miscellaneous tab here, I've got the oscillator, the arpeggiator doing its thing. Maybe I should cancel that for this demonstration. Okay, that's how that sounds. If I do Stretch Pro, the pitch changes aren't so great. They're kind of just, the sounds are all kind of off and weird and whatnot. So, but what Stretch Pro is excellent for is if you're trying to maintain, let's say in this case, the C5, and we put it up here, and we go, if you go up to make sure this wave, not the automation or the note, but the audio guy is selected, you select the stretch icon here, you want to make sure that, okay, since we dragged this into the arrangement window, FL's making its own audio clip, which looks a lot like sampler. It just doesn't have this window here, which is the thing that I got to talk to you about a thing, but it still does have this. But as you can see, very limited options in comparison. But given what you need it for, it may just be just fine. So anyways, so if I stretch this, let's try to do this real quick, I guess. So I got the stretch thing engaged. I'm only on a resample, and I'm gonna shut these guys down so that they don't interfere. Play. Okay, it's great. It sounds good. It sounds like it's supposed to. No problems. We can use resample if we're not going to stretch it. As soon as we stretch it, be sure to keep this thing, have this thing is selected. Stretch it. We'll stretch it out like this. Now we play it. Now it's hard to notice that it's really off, but there is definitely a change. They would actually serve better to show maybe a vocal clip here to show the difference, which is actually probably just what I should just do right now. But basically, I mean, it is lower. It still does do kind of the job that it's supposed to do, but Stretch Pro is much more the deal you want to work with. So if I can find my just awesomely organized, there we go. Here we'll go to vocals, and we'll select something that's not too, I don't. Why is it that?
Love will take its place.
Okay, we'll just use this guy. So this is off of another project I worked on. It's actually a cover song, but nobody knows who the artist is, and actually, it's actually on my YouTube, called Stars. But so this is a really good example here. So we click this guy. You got your audio, and it sounds.
Love will take its place.
You can hear all that noise in the background, and that was from the original track. It was just really not. It was like a copy of a copy of a copy kind of thing, or a compressed file that didn't get decompressed very well, something like that. So I had redone the whole song and made it much better. But I still had to extract the vocals and use those because yours truly can't sing that well. So anyway, to the point.
Love will take its place.
So it's on the resample mode right now. We got the stretch enabled. Drag it out. Now we play it. Okay, so that's not what we want, right? We want it because they say what the deal is that you're trying to align it. You're trying to align it to your song BPM, right? So that the syllables and the lyrics match up with the beat. And so you usually you'll have to adjust it just a little bit to make it sound good. So if we're using the resample, it doesn't work so good. So we go to Stretch Pro.
Love will take it.
Okay, so it doesn't change it because it's not stretched. So I'll go stretch it here, and then we'll play it again.
Love will take it.
So it's slowed down what he's saying, but it's keeping the pitch as closely as it can to the original pitch. And so that's what stretch mode does. So you can, if you have a sample in your sampler and you're not using an audio clip, you're triggering it with MIDI, let's say, and let's just say that it's in here, and you trigger it with MIDI, right? You may have to change it from resample to Stretch Pro because you don't want the pitch changes to happen. But in this case, with this wavetable, we want the pitch changes to coincide with the notes on the keyboard. And so, whoa, which one's being, oh wait, hold on. We have the other guy is, it was behind the arrangement window somehow. Anyways, so, and this guy's off anyways. That's why it wasn't making any sound. So back to resample. Okay, finally getting to it now. This guy here, so when you put a wavetable into a sampler, it just plays however long the wavetable is. So this wavetable is a lot longer than the notes that I'm pushing, but how you get it to be the length of the note and be held as long as the note's pressed, and of course it will terminate at the end of the loop, or unless you have it set to loop. What you do is you go into this guy here, and it won't be enabled by default, it'll be off. So you'll enable it, and then you'll set your ADSR, and you'll be able to, that way it'll shut the sound off. So it's reacting from the MIDI data. So technically, internally, the audio clip is still playing, but the volume envelope that you've initiated is clamping the sound when you release the key, so it can't be heard. It's technically still being played inside, but they may have, the software may actually terminate the playback internally based off of the ADSR settings too. So, because technically if you pushed it again within the time frame of the length of the audio clip, you would hear it a second time if it was actually still playing. and hold on a second, which would be hard to notice actually with a sound that stays the same. But if you did have a different a clip in here that changed as it played, and then you would hear it playing a second time, or trying to finish off what it was started from the previous key press. But that I haven't noticed it doing that. If actually let's bring in. I just want to try that real quick. So if I can find another sampler here, then we can shoot. I really hope I don't have my audio super organized, but I guess I just put it onto 9, because the recording of this isn't the same as the output, because I'm clamping my vocal whenever music is played so that the mic doesn't pick up the audio from my monitors when it's played. All right, so we'll just put it on 9. Okay, it's showing up on the recorder. All right, so it plays, except for the keyboard. Shoot, no, that wasn't the keyboard. I forget the keyboard's clamped to the other 2 samplers, so we have to go to this and do this. We don't have anything to play though, so that won't work. Okay, so to exercise the previous point I was making, back to here. Whoa, that was weird. All right, so hopefully I can play without feedback. Okay, that was kind of an accident, because I was just trying to make it work. C5, I don't remember. If I push C5, it should be fine.
And love will take its place.
All right, so if I do this, go here.
And love will take.
So it's restarting the audio. It doesn't continue to play it underneath the ADSR envelope. So we've ruled that out. Okay. Anyways, so this is a really cool guy you can use for your shutting on and off the samples with MIDI data in your sampler. Over here, there is a kind of a cool, you can set your different filters that everybody knows about. I don't have to go into that. And so you just have the mod. Well, you do have to kind of learn the mod deal, because one of these acts to pull up the low end, I think, and the other one acts to pull down on the high end. I think if I remember right, that's how that goes. Additionally, they give you latency knob here too, so it plays and then attack and decay and sustain release. And anyways, so all right, so we're kind of past that now. I'm gonna try to wrap this first part up, and so in this area, what I've done is now I've panned this guy to the left, this guy to the right. They all have their own audio channel, which actually doesn't really matter as much unless you're trying to implement latency. But as you can see up here, we just saw you can actually do that here. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But there's just, there's more options of like effects and stuff to the audio you can do if you have 2 different channels while you do it. Additionally, I wanted to show you real quick. We'll get to the knob controller thing, the macro setting real quick. But what I did here is I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that you can put an arpeggiator up here, and you can set one on the left to go up, the one on the right to go down. You can set, of course, set the range, the type of scale that it arpeggiates when you press a key, and then of course how long it's holding the note. Additionally, you're probably going to find that if you want a shorter gate time, that you're going to actually have to adjust the release, and because the release will get into the way of the gate and it won't be as clean cut as you might want, depending on what you're trying to ARP. So just be aware of that. And so this guy, I'm going to attempt to understand the rest of these modules within sampler at a later date, but for now besides the arpeggiator, so I've got both of these set on the major. I've got the gate kind of short, and this one's not. They're both on. Oh no, things aren't happening. Two. Oh, it's just happening really fast. Oh, the time's the same, but it's not changing the notes. Oh no, why is things happening? Now I can't demonstrate properly. I don't see what's going on. These are the same, these are the same. Oh man, why is it doing this to me? I don't know why that's behaving that way. All right. Hold on. Okay, this guy's already going there. For some reason, I had the one insert going to the record output. Why? Things are strange. Man, I do apologize. I don't know why this thing is not behaving like it's supposed to. The time slide, the panning. These aren't different than each other. I don't know why. Goodness sakes, what a waste of time. Oh, look, that's what's going on. This freaking time. When I changed the sample to Pro, that changed that time, which makes the sound different. That's why it wasn't ARPing. Oh, the nuances here. All right. So anyway, so I got this ARP going down and this one going up. Split between the right and left channels. Makes it a kind of a cool effect. And then additionally to this, I'm affecting both of these samplers with layer. And layer, it's just a module that goes in there. It doesn't route audio. It doesn't, even though it has an audio knob, it actually somehow in the software controls the audio output of any of the children that its MIDI data is set to manipulate for some reason. So, if you're what this is for is you're working on these two different samplers, right? And you're adjusting things. Well, what happens is whenever you touch one of these, you'll notice this little green square, it changes and it focuses on whichever one you are. And when you're trying to play both of them at the same time, whenever you hit your keyboard, it's inconvenient to go over here and have to click on the layer every time you've got done editing some parameter on one of the instrument or the samplers. So what you can do to make it to where whenever you push your keyboard, it is going to activate both of the children from that layer is set to manipulate. You go into here and then you run down to this, you just hold on, you just right click, okay, and then you go receive down to receive notes from, and then you can unlock it if you're done with whatever and you want free use of your keyboard for other VSTs and instruments. And then you go down to your deal, and then you can just set, like all the MIDI channels are going to do it. If you're able to, your MIDI keyboard's able to output, if you can select it to output different MIDIs, then you can probably, like this one is able to do that, but the display on it is like burnt in and it's hard to read, and it's a disappointing product in that regard. But anyways, if yours has a nice easy button to push to just select individual MIDI channels, you can do that here so that you can actually just click on your keyboard and then push the keys in order to activate your VSTs. But in this case, I have to use MIDI channel all, and then that makes it to where whenever I hit the keyboard, only notes from the keyboard will go to layer, and then that way I can hear that way it triggers both of the samplers, and I can hear the effects from them both. Now, so anyways, so you got from that. So the other thing that I got into when I was working with these, and the thing that started to become a little bit inconvenient was that I would adjust one knob on the one that the other one also had, and I have to go over there and copy the parameter to get it to be the same over on the other one if I needed it to be that way. And so what you can do alternatively is, if you know you're going to be adjusting a knob and dealing with it whatnot, you can open up control. You can open control service under controller here. You have to right click and you have to send it to a focused audio track basically, or a mixer. And so I have it set on the master because this control service is just a module that you route these your parameters on your different plugins to a macro knob. And so you have this thing up, you push this button, and then you can change the color and the styles, and there's some basic stuff. So you can also open up Control Creator here and really get into, like, if you really want to dive in, right? You can open up this guy. It's a standalone thing, but you save your new knobs and faders and stuff to a folder that you can access. When you right click on this knob here, it'll give you the options for, it's basically like a preset, but for how the knob looks, or the fader, or whatever. So as soon as you get this knob looking how you want it to look, and you have to click that wrench icon again, and then you can you want to route whatever to this knob. So you go to the two knobs that you want to route, because you're not going to have a macro unless you have two different knobs at least that you want to route to it. So in my case, I did the gate. So you right click on it, you want to link it to a controller, and then you click on the internal controller, because the knob that you made in control surface is an internal controller. And then you will see it, and you will click it, and then once you click it, you might have once you click your second knob that you want linked to this new knob, this will come up. This light will light up, and if you leave it lit up and push accept, it will remove the first knob and only keep the second knob routed to that internal controller. So you'll want to uncheck that red light and then push accept, and then you'll have the ability to control both knobs that you've routed to it. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, I hope I didn't get off and I explained not too unclearly what you can do with this stuff, but I kind of like this stuff, and I kind of hope that maybe I've inspired maybe a couple of you guys to look into being a little more creative and the options that you have at your disposal with this program. And I will be working to endeavor to understand how to use all of these little modules in here. I'm not so the time is, this guy here I know gives you the amount of time that the overall sample can be played, how much time you allow for it. By default, it's set to as long as it is. And then you can click and drag down, and then you can look in the upper left here, and it'll tell you how long you can play it for. And I think that's in seconds. Looks like it goes down to 3 seconds, I guess. It doesn't say milliseconds, but anyways. And then you can offset the trigger time, and I'm not sure what shift is. But anyway, I'll come up with a way to demonstrate the deal of how those affect what. And this guy here, I haven't got him to do anything. I haven't figured this guy out yet either. But this guy, I think everybody knows how to use that pretty well. But anyway, so thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to, if you think the video's worth a hoot, throw it a like, so maybe some other people can view it for information. So appreciate you guys' time. Peace.